The latest report by Moody'S has the international credit rating agency raising the country's deficit forecast to 3.6% of gross domestic product, a 1% increase over the $100,000 million decrease government predicted in its last budget. Moody'S is predicting a deficit between $280 million to $300 million, nearly tripling government's own forecast before Hurricane Matthew forced government to borrow an additional $150 million. Former Minister of State for Finance James Smith believes the assessment will have no major impact on the country's credit rating.
The projections that would have been put out by the government earlier about reducing the deficit, I think about $100 million, obviously would have been adversely affected by Hurricane Matthew, which obviously placed the country back somewhat by the losses to GDP in the region of maybe $500 million. And in their takeoff on that, it means therefore, using I suppose their formula, it should increase the deficit over the next period.
While Smith says he does not know what Moody's based its calculations on, he says the agency has to consider the injection of the $100,000 million into the economy by the China Exim Bank and its multiplying effect, and the resumption of work on Baha-Mar. While Moody's also considered the impact of Hurricane Matthew, Smith says he does not believe the country is in immediate danger of a downgrade.
The Baha-Mar project being resuscitated is a positive impact on the GDP in terms of the employment that would be generated and the resources that would go into that. The Matthew impact, I think, has already been, discounted, and there's another upside to that as well. I don't know if Moody's took that into account, but of the damage, the insurance companies would now have to pay, and most of those funds would flow into the Bahamas from the reinsurers. So all of that should be deducted from the Moody's figure if it hasn't already been taken into account.